Here we go. We are back. It's Thursday. We start off with a Shakira-inspired Hips Don't Lie workout. As with all of kind of the accessory stuff we do, it's important for them to understand why we're doing it. Partially because both of these movements are effective at helping with knee and back issues and not only helping with injury that already happened, but preventing injury that hasn't. And that's important because the knee and the back can go, even if you're old or you're an athlete, whatever it is. But they also build some stability, like banded lateral step-ups are going to be great for kind of hip function, glute function, which allows the knee and the back to function more. Seated good mornings work on full strength in the midline through range of motion and hip mobility. And they're very effective at increasing that hip mobility. So that's going to not only help us, like we talked about, with injury prevention and rehab, but it's also going to help us lift more weights and go faster on workouts, which is, both of those are important no matter what your goals are. After that, we kind of warmed up the hips and the back and everything's ready to roll. We're going to do some banded abduction deadlifts. This is with that booty band around the knees. It's important that they're taking that narrow stance and driving out. They need to have a band that's heavy enough they can feel it, but not so heavy that they can't push out. But they need to push out the length of the movement. And what this is going to do is it's going to teach them to activate the glutes, not collapse in, all that fun stuff during it. It adds a little challenge to that deadlift, right? We go back with your RPE. We go 1 and then 4 sets at 2, meaning they should start off first set, plenty, 4 in the tank, and then the next set, they should have 3 left in the tank, and that will get progressively harder. This is one of those where we may end up past an RPE of 2 because we're going to use the same weight for the last 4 sets, but that second set we should definitely have 3 more in the tank, right? That'll probably change as we go through. No big deal there. Then we move on to a weight limited workout, essentially, because it should be relatively heavy. So it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of dumbbell front squats and strict pull-ups. At least for the top level strict, chest to bar for purple, kipping for blue, and then ring rows for orange and white, but ring rows under the rings for white and under on the wall for orange, right? It should be relatively challenging. In between each, we do 6 dumbbell press. There is a CrossFit variation to this where you're doing handstand push-ups. So if they're following the track or they just love handstand push-ups, make sure they're aware of that. So the intent of this is what's called a weight bias workout or a weight limited workout, meaning that the conditioning will still be hard, but the heavier weights need to play in that as part of why you get to slow down as well. The tendency is people go too light on something like this, especially with dumbbells, and we'll have the weights up there. It's important to remember that if you do go light, you're gonna breeze through this. So you need to kind of err on the side of going heavy. All right. So it's something you could do 5 to 10 with when you're fresh. Now, what may happen, and we'll see this sometimes, is that the front squat wouldn't be heavy if I'm going to use that for my press. The press might be way too heavy, right? So it might be a really, really, really heavy press and a light front squat if I'm imbalanced and I've got much stronger legs than I do arms, and that's okay. In which case, we're going to dial it back down and change that movement from press to a push press to get the proper stimulus. So we only have 1 set of dumbbells. Makes life easy. Everybody can get the dumbbells they need. So if that press is too heavy, they can do that. But remember that if they can do 5 to 10, even if it's heavy, they're in the right thing. It may take 2 sets to do that press. It may take 2 sets towards the end to do those sets of 2, 3s, and 4s on the other. That's okay. Think about that stimulus because the weight should be aligning it. Now, this should be a relatively short workout, but we're still going to dial it back again, right? RPE of 2 for most of this thing, which means it's just a little easier than the mile. Should be able to speak in short sentences. It's a little bit slower or a little bit easier of an RPE than we would think based on time domains, but that's because the strength factor comes into it, so it should slow us down a bit. So you kind of look at RPE of conditioning is here, and my strength is here, so we get a much harder workout. If they start going out too fast and they hit like a 3 or 4 because it's a short workout, they're going to struggle with that weight, and it's going to turn into something that isn't fun. All right.